Let's do it. So I want everybody to know it's been over a year since I read Meridith Elliott Powell's book. It is a great book. The name of the book is Thrive: Strategies to Turn Uncertainty into Competitive Advantages. If you're on the book, I'm showing the book. You can see all the flaps because I've read the book, made notes in it, and I've been trying to get her on the show for almost a year now. Her book is just the nail on the head. She is absolutely nailed what is necessary to make it in this environment. And I encourage you to take a look at her book. Again, Thrive: Strategies to Turn Uncertainty into a Competitive Edge. And Tracy, you're going to introduce her for us.
I have the honor of introducing her. And what a perfect name, Thrive. Meridith Powell, she's a sales strategist, leadership expert, certified speaking professional, and award-winning author. Meridith Elliott Powell wants today's businesses to stop viewing uncertainty as something that prevents them from being successful. This is why her virtual programs, leadership coaching, and online courses, Keynote presentations, leverage her 9-step formula for making uncertainty your company's strategic advantage. Meridith Powell.
Do you remember when you were a kid in elementary school? Think back to sitting in that kindergarten class and what your teacher told you was important, what mattered. In those days, you would actually get a grade for how well you got along and how well you played with others. All of your other marks could be strong. You could be that student with perfect attendance, that student who did well in spelling and math, and the one student who actually treated the teacher with respect. But if you did not play well with others, remember that phrase? That bad mark would certainly mean a meeting with a teacher and a follow-up call to your parents. I have often wondered why after grade school, those marks and grades, they just go away. Why do we stop being held accountable for our ability to get along and play well with others once we stop getting recess and an afternoon snack? It's just too bad that that accountability does not follow us through life, because it is one of the most critical skills you can have, both professionally and personally. One of the most important resources you build is your ability to communicate and engage with others. In fact, the research shows that 85% of our success in life, it is based on our ability to communicate with and get along with others. 85%, that's a lot. See, only 15% of our success is based on our technical ability. Communication ranks among the top 5 skills needed to run an organization, engage with customers and members, and de-stress your life. But the good news is, yes, just like our grade school teachers understood, communication, connection, and engagement, they are skills that can be taught. They are skills that can be learned and ones that should be continually developed. They are the skills that will never be mastered. They are a true lifelong journey of continual improvement, but one that comes with a huge payoff. And that is what we're going to focus on today. That is what we are going to cover in this program. When I leave this stage, this virtual stage, you will have the skills, the strategies, the techniques, everything you need to connect, communicate, and engage, and learn the secrets to getting along with absolutely anybody. So where do we start, right? Well, we have to begin by understanding we all have a natural bias. I mean, we all do. We have a natural tendency to like some people more than others. And you know what I mean. Think of people in your life who you are naturally attracted to. Right now, I mean, think of a member in your organization whom you like, you felt an easy connection with, someone who just lights up a room. They easily bring a smile to your face. They are just comfortable to talk with and so easy to be around. That feels good, right? Now let's do the opposite. Think of people or members you don't like. Now, we don't like to admit it, but we all got them, right? Picture in your mind that one person If you are honest with yourself, you would rather have a tooth pulled out than have a meeting with or spend an afternoon with them. You are loath to appoint them to a committee or ask them to volunteer for an event because you know you have already made up your mind it is going to be an unpleasant experience. So why is that? Why do we click with some people more than others? Well, it is probably no surprise we like people who are like us or how we want to be. We naturally are attracted to and easily click with people who talk the way we do, think the way we do, and make decisions the way we do, versus those who are different than us, think differently than we do, have a different perspective, act and talk entirely differently than we do. See, these people, they push us out of our comfort zone. They challenge us and make us have to work so much harder to just be heard or to even be understood. And we don't like them as well because the flow of communication is just tougher. It's work and it's hard. And look, we don't like hard. But to lead and lead effectively, to master this uncertain marketplace, you have to master the art of getting along with anybody and recognize the value in connecting with people that are sometimes challenging, people that are sometimes difficult. These people who can get along with anybody, they accept that they are not going to like everyone. They just embrace it. Sometimes we get caught in the trap of thinking that we are nice people. We think that we are going to and should like everyone we interact with, even when in reality, look, that's just not going to happen. It's inevitable. You will encounter difficult people who oppose what you think, and smart people know this. They also recognize that conflicts or disagreements are a result of differences in values, nothing more. They also understand that not liking someone does not mean that they are intrinsically a bad human. The reason you don't get along is because you have different values, and those different values result in judgment. You just can't help it. But once you accept that not everyone will like you, and you won't like everyone, and it is simply a difference in values, the realization takes the emotion out of the situation. And when you get the emotion out of the situation, you create an environment where you can agree to disagree. And what could be better than that? Smart people bear with, they don't ignore or dismiss those they don't like. In other words, they put up with it. Oh, sure, you may cringe at his constant criticism, grit your teeth at her lousy jokes, or shake your head or roll your eyes at their unusual ideas. But feeling less than affectionate towards someone might not be the worst thing. Those gifted to get along with everyone, those people understand you need people who have different points of view and aren't afraid to argue. That people who have a different perspective are the kind of people who can actually stop your organization from making wrong decisions or doing something stupid. It may not always be easy. Smart people and great leaders understand that those who challenge or provoke you prompt you to new insights and help propel the group to success. In other words, you cannot really grow without difficult people. Remember, it may be hard to believe, but you aren't perfect either, yet people still tolerate you. Smart people treat those they don't like with civility. They're kind. Smart leaders understand that whatever your feelings are for someone, that person will be highly attuned to your attitude and behavior, and they will treat you as you treated them. It is the golden rule, right? So if you are rude or dismissive to them, they will likely throw away all decorum and be rude and dismissive to you. But if you remain fair, impartial, and composed, they may not always treat you the same way, but you will at least always hold the upper hand by controlling your own behavior, and those and others will have a greater respect for you. And people who can get along with anybody, they check their own expectations. Listen, I think this is the most important and critical step that you can take. Really get your expectations in line. Because you see, for the most part, we all have unrealistic expectations about others. We expect others to think, act, and handle things exactly the same way that we do, even though they don't have the same values, the same upbringing, or even the same perspective. I remember when my husband and I got married, one of our biggest issues was that he expected and wanted to eat a big meal at noon and a small meal in the early evening. And I was completely the opposite. We fought about it for the longest time, one thinking the other was both wrong and completely rude for even suggesting such a thing. But the truth was, we just had different expectations based on how we were raised, what our parents and family did. See, it is the same for you. Think of the differences you have with people. More often than not, they are just based on you having unrealistic expectations. If a member is always critical when they ask questions, why would you expect them to be any different the next time you see them? Why would you expect them to be motivating if their natural tendency is to be critical? Expecting others to do as you would do is setting yourself up for disappointment and frustration. If a person causes you to feel negatively or uncomfortable every time you engage with them, then adjust your expectations. Smart people do this all the time. They're not always surprised by a dislikable person's behavior, and neither should you. And smart people and people who get along with everybody, they turn inwards and they focus on themselves. Because you see, no matter what you try, some people can still really get under your skin. It's important that you learn how to handle your frustration when dealing with someone who annoys you. Instead of thinking about how irritating that person is, instead, focus on why you are reacting the way you are. And we are going to talk more about this in just a little while, getting a hold of how you react to people, but giving you the tools to master it. Do a little internal focus. Sometimes what we don't like in others is frequently what we don't like in ourselves. Besides, always remember, those people that drive us crazy, they didn't create the button. They're only pushing it. I love that. See, the button is ours, and we decide if we let other people push it or not, and how hard we let them push it. If you can pause and get a grip on your adrenaline pump and go to the intellectual part of your brain, you'll be better able to have a conversation and to skip over the judgment. A deep breath, one big step back, can also help to calm you down and protect you from overreaction. And smart people and people that get along with anybody, they voice their own needs. They speak up for themselves. Being passive gets you nowhere. If certain people constantly tick you off, calmly let them know that their manner or behavior or communication style is a problem for you. Avoid accusatory language and instead try the "when you, I feel" formula. For example, saying things like, "When you cut me off in meetings, I feel like you don't value my contributions." Then take a moment and wait for their response. You might find that the other person didn't even realize you weren't finished speaking, or your colleague was so excited about your idea that she enthusiastically jumped into the conversation. See, people are not doing things to you. Usually they're doing things to help themselves. Let me repeat that. People are not doing things to you. Usually they are doing things to help themselves. So sometimes people don't even know or have any idea that their behavior is off-putting to us. So learn to speak up and ask for what you want. And lastly, give it space. If all else fails, smart people allow space between themselves and those they don't like. No one is forcing you to engage any longer than you have to with a person you don't like. Excuse yourself and go on your way. If at work, move to another room or sit at the other end of the conference table. See, with a bit of distance, perspective, and empathy, you may be able to come back and interact both with those people you like and those you don't, as if completely unfazed. Of course, everything would be easier if we could just wish people we don't like away. Wouldn't that be great? But too bad we all know that's not how life works. We need to learn to master the art of connecting, communicating, and engaging. Master the art of getting along with anybody. So let's dive into these strategies, the steps, the things you need to know to elevate your leadership and take your association to the next level. And along the way, You may just learn a few tricks that make building and retaining your membership stronger and life at the Thanksgiving dinner table this year just a little easier. So here are your strategies for getting along with anybody. Let's start with understanding how we communicate and how people communicate differently. Let's assume that you are looking at a great big circle that represents the model of human behavior. In fact, better yet, why don't you get a piece of paper and a pencil? Go ahead. I'll wait. All right, you got it? Now on a sheet of paper, please draw a great big circle and title it the model of human behavior. That's right, the model of human behavior. Now make the circle as big as your sheet of paper and look at the circle, and I want you to understand that inside that circle, we're going to define all the different ways that people communicate, connect, and engage. We're going to construct the actual model of human behavior. Now take your pencil or pen and draw a horizontal line in the middle of your circle, right across the middle of it. Got it? Fantastic. We call this pace. Write pace at the top of your circle. Pace is how people move, react, and take action. And matching people's pace is the first step in learning to get along with anybody. The truth is, we begin to connect and engage with people before we ever open our mouths. We do it with our body language, our movement, our energy level. We decide whether we like people or not almost instantly. And people who live above your line are what we call outgoing. Write that down. Label that area above the line as outgoing. People and members who are like this are fast-paced. They are high energy. They are always on the word go. They tend to move before they think. To this group, if you say, "Do you wanna?" they say yes before they even know what you're asking or where you're going. You could have been asking them to go get colonoscopies, but by goodness, they are all in. This group is energized, enthused, and excited. This group values and connects with people who move and think like they do, quickly and to the point. Those of us who provide volumes of information or move a little bit in a more reserved manner, we drive these high energy folks crazy, often without even knowing it. Nothing worse for an outgoing person than to engage with someone who talks slowly. Goodness help you if you pause before you answer a question, because these people, if there's too much silence, they'll just have the whole conversation without you. They will just keep talking. See, they have places to go. They have things to do. They are in a hurry to get the job done. They like quick decisions, conversations that get to the point, and energy that is fast and driven. Now let's look at those that live below your horizontal line. These folks are reserved. Go ahead and write that down, reserved. These are the people that tend to think before they move. Wow, there's a concept, right? They actually think before they even speak. They like information. They like to be sure before taking action. And they tend to look for the negative before the positive. They are just natural worriers. They are a little more critical, pensive, and introspective. When these reserved folks encounter those that live above the line, those that come at them with all that energy and all that speed, honestly, it's too much. It shuts them down. They tend to be put off. So, congratulations. Now you know the first step in the model of human behavior and getting along with anybody. It's pace, how we move. We are either outgoing or reserved. We either move quickly and with a lot of energy, or we move a little slower and prefer to get more information before we take action. So where do you fall? What is your preferred communication style? Are you outgoing, reserved? Do you prefer to move quickly, to get decisions fast? Or do you prefer more time? Are you more pensive? Pace is the first thing I look at when I look to get along with anybody. I look at how people move. The teller in the drive-thru, the clerk at the grocery store, the meeting planner I'm engaging with. It is the first way I'm trying to adjust my style to better connect with them. Now let's go back to our circle, and I want you to draw another line in that circle, again in the middle, but this time a vertical line straight down the center. Got it? That's what we call priority. What is the most important to people? Write that word down, priority. You're going to want to remember it. I believe that most of our issues and challenges to get along and connect with anybody It comes down to priorities. If you have different or competing priorities, you are bound to have conflict. It's just natural. If you are looking at your circle, I want you to write the word task on the left-hand side of that circle. Just write it down. Now go over to the right side of the circle and write people. Just write people over there. Now let's look at task. For those members we engage that are task focused, they like form, they like structure, they like process. They focus on the goal and getting the job done. In fact, one of the most exciting things to them is to cross something off their to-do list. It just turns them on. They are the type of people who come to a meeting or into the office on Monday morning, they grab a cup of coffee and they get right to work. They don't want to talk. They don't want to hear what you did over the weekend, and they certainly don't want to make small talk. In fact, small talk drives these people crazy. When you meet or engage with task-oriented folks, they want to get to the point, handle business before pleasure. All right, now you've got the task folks. So let's go to the other side of the circle, the right side, and focus on the people-focused individual. People who live on that side of the circle are all about the relationship. Before they engage with you, talk business, or address the task at hand, they want to get to know you and you to know them. They want to know how many kids you have, where you grew up, and what your favorite color is. And when they come to work on Monday, the first 10 minutes of any workday is to grab a cup of coffee, walk around the office, and ask everyone how their weekend was, with the real intention of telling everyone how great their weekend was. Right? Do you recognize yourselves or others who do that? You can imagine the clash between these two groups. The task-oriented folks are driven nuts by the people-oriented folks, asking too many questions and getting too personal and wasting time. And the relationship-oriented folks think the task-oriented folks are just rude. They seem to have no feelings and always jump right to the point of business. So where do you fall? Task-oriented or relationship-oriented? If I gave you 15 minutes right now, would you rather get something done on your to-do list or grab a cup of coffee and have a conversation with your friends? Congratulations. Now you understand the model of human behavior. You should have a circle in front of you with a horizontal line that is outgoing on top, reserved on the bottom, and a vertical line down the center with task on the left and people on the right. Now, once you understand the model, it's time to look at it just a little closer just to better understand our own communication style, how we see the world, our strengths, our weaknesses, our blind spots. And yes, remember, we all have blind spots. Also, pay attention as we go through all the styles, because you need to understand each style to truly understand other people and how to communicate, connect, and engage. Now let's go back to our circle. And if you find that you are outgoing and task focused, your style is the upper left quadrant, and you are what is known as a dominant style. Let's talk about what is great about you. You tend to be direct and decisive, sometimes described as dominant. You would prefer to lead than follow. You have high self-confidence, and you are risk takers and problem solvers, which enables others to look to you for decisions and direction. You are a natural self-starter. No one needs to tell you what to do. You challenge the status quo and you think in a very innovative way. We love you because you make things happen. But you have some blind spots. You tend to overstep authority and you prefer to be in charge. You can be argumentative and not listen to the reasoning of others. You sometimes ignore the details and minutia of a situation, even if it's important. Your biggest needs are choice, challenge, and control. So if I'm going to communicate with you, I focus on giving you choice, challenge, and control. Now let's look to the upper right quadrant. This is the I personality style, the influencer. You love to be the center of attention. You just love it. You are enthusiastic, optimistic, talkative, persuasive, impulsive, and you are emotional. You trust others easily and naturally. You truly enjoy being around others, and you function best when in a group and working with a team. You are naturally creative problem solver. You can think outside the box. You are a great encourager and motivator of others, an influential leader. You make and keep environments positive with your enthusiasm and dynamic sense of humor. You will go out of your way to keep things light and avoid and negotiate conflict. And you are great at keeping the peace and lightening the mood. But you have some blind spots. You are not good with details. In fact, you tend to avoid them. You are more concerned with people and popularity than with tangible results and organization. You are not a great listener, and you may give the impression of waiting to speak instead of truly listening to someone else and what they have to say. Your greatest need is approval of others and acceptance. When I communicate with you, I always look for ways to recognize and reward you. Now let's go to the reserved section below the line and the right-hand side. People-oriented and reserved are S style. You are the steady personality type, and you are known for being stable and predictable. You are even-tempered, friendly, sympathetic with others, and very generous with loved ones. In fact, you care, you understand, and you listen well. But you prefer a slower pace, things to be consistent and the same. If you ate chili on Tuesday nights with your family as a kid, chances are you are still doing that today as an adult. You like repetition, routine, and sameness. You are great at caring for members, remembering birthdays, anniversaries, and all the little things that matter. You are the master of retention. But you have some blind spots. You are so comfortable with routine that you often resist change. You avoid conflict so much that you often hold a grudge and can be a little passive-aggressive. You want to please others. Therefore, you have a difficult time saying no or establishing priorities. Your greatest need is stability, sameness, and security. When I communicate with you, I make sure that I make you feel secure and supported. And lastly, let's look at our reserved, task-oriented folks, our C styles, the cautious style. You are the personality style that loves detail. You are accurate, precise, and conscientious. Often the first person at work, and you are the last one to leave. You think very analytically and systematically, and you make decisions carefully with plenty of research and information to back it up. You are the people who read textbooks, car manuals, and the directions, quite frankly, to everything. You have very high standards for both yourself and for others because you focus on the details and see what many other styles do not. So you tend to be a good problem solver and very creative. When a new idea is presented, it is you who will think through every detail of how it works and the process. You will make realistic estimates and will voice the problems that you see with a plan and already existing systems. You will complete tasks you're committed to and be very, very thorough. So thorough, in fact, almost delivering too much information. But even you have blind spots. You can be seen as critical and someone people struggle to connect with. You can provide so much information and detail that others tend to just zone out or get frustrated. You love the discovery process, so you can ask so many questions that it just sucks the life out of other people. And you would rather see a project done well than delivered on time. And your biggest need is quality and accuracy. So when I communicate with you, I provide lots of information. I'm prepared, and I am ready to answer all of your questions. So what did you learn? You are pretty impressive, right? You bring a lot to the table, and so do all the other styles. Did you see yourself in those descriptions? See others? And were you surprised by your own blind spots that even you can be hard to get along with? What are the strengths of your style? What are your weaknesses? And most importantly, what do you need to do to try to improve, to better connect, communicate, and engage, and get along with anybody? Now that you understand the model, understand yourself and the styles, let's talk about how to recognize the styles in others. Learn to identify who you are talking to so you can better engage and connect with them. Let's take each style one by one. The dominant style. These are fast-paced, task-focused individuals. The influential style. These are fast-paced and people-focused. The steady style. These are reserved and people-focused. And the cautious style. These are reserved and task-focused. Just by understanding that, can you think of 2 famous people that go with each style? 2 people that you could list for each category. Better yet, let me give you a list and have you decide where each of these celebrities go. Let me think about it. Okay, how about Mother Teresa, Oprah Winfrey, Simon Cowell, Jim Carrey, Bill Gates, Martin Luther King Jr., Albert Einstein, Robin Williams, how about a little Beyonce, one of my idols, Winston Churchill, and let's go back to the 1980s and throw Madonna in there. See, I just tried to get something for every age category. Now, write down what you think each of those famous people, their personality style, what you think they are, where they fit. And I'll repeat it one more time. We've got Mother Teresa, Oprah Winfrey, Simon Cowell, Jim Carrey, Bill Gates, Martin Luther King Jr., Albert Einstein, Robin Williams, Beyonce, Winston Churchill, and Madonna. I think I got them all. Focus on others rather than focus on ourselves. A huge factor in getting along with anybody is that. But let's look at your answers. Now, our Ds. Who do you think fell into the D style? Maybe Madonna? But you could have put her with an I. I would get that. Simon Cowell or even Winston Churchill. They are strong people, fast-paced and quick to make decisions. And they're even a little controversial, maybe a little hard to get along with. Now, who did you put down for the I's? Maybe Oprah Winfrey, Jim Carrey, Robin Williams, or I'm sure some of you threw Beyonce in there, or you could have put her in the D style. See, these people are dynamic, love the limelight. They are influencers. They are high energy and they are fun. Now, who did you put for the S's? Oh, that's right. That one was kind of easy. Maybe Martin Luther King Jr. or Mother Teresa, the kind of people who are about consensus and community building. They address and solve problems with peace. And last but not least are our C's. Bill Gates, Albert Einstein, smart people, problem solvers, the ability to stay with things for a long time, a little more reserved and task focused. Now, you are well on your way. You have enough information to better connect, communicate, engage, and get along with anybody. You understand that people communicate in their own way, according to how they see the world. You deeply understand how people are different and your own personality style, the good, the bad, and the ugly. You have the tools and information you need to recognize and see the style of others. You can easily identify their pace, their priority, and how they best want to communicate. Now, all that is left is to learn to adjust your style to better connect, communicate, and engage with others. That is the key right there. If you want to get along with anybody, it is about learning to adjust your style rather than having them adjust theirs. You communicate how they want to communicate rather than having them adjust to you. In fact, the best communicator on earth, the one communicator who can really get along with anybody is, can you guess? It's the GPS on your phone or in your car. That's right. I mean, think about it. When you make a wrong turn or you miss an instruction, does she yell at you? Does she get mad at you? Does she decide she doesn't like you? No. She just recalculates. In other words, she takes the responsibility upon herself to adjust her style to better connect with you. We are going to recalculate. Here we go. Think about the top 5 people you are struggling to get along with right now. Yes, only 5. I'm going to limit you there and write them down. All right, you got it? See, that was easy. We all have people who drive us nuts. Now let's learn to recalculate. And to recalculate, the first step is, what do you think that person's style is? What's their pace? What's their priority? Now, what's your pace and priority? Is there conflict? Are you different? You probably are. Or maybe you're so much alike, it's a challenge. Now, what can you do to adjust your style to better connect with theirs? Can you pick up your pace or slow it down? What can you do to ensure that your energy is matching their energy? What is their basic need, and are you meeting it? Or can you adjust to meet it? Now, what is their priority? Are they task-focused or people-focused? Are they more focused on getting the job done, or do they want to connect and get to know you? Now walk through all 5 of the people in front of you. That's your homework. And put down their styles with your style right next to it. Now, what is one action you can take to better match their style, better connect, communicate, and engage with them? What is one thing you can do to actually recalculate? Let me give you an example. I have a client that I love. She is one of my favorites. We just click. One time per month, she needs me to meet with her CFO. Now, her CFO is a difficult person. She does not have much personality, in my opinion. She gives one-word answers, and she questions me so much it exhausts me. I find her very negative. So to meet with her, I need to prepare. First, I need to see my own expectations. I need to be realistic. I know we are not going to have fun. I know that she is not going to talk much, and I know that she is going to ask me so many questions that I will be completely wiped out when I'm done. So I always make sure I'm doing something right after that I love to do, like go for a mountain bike ride or get a massage. And that is how you communicate, connect, and engage. And that is how you can master the art of getting along with anybody. So there you have it. See, now you understand the value of getting along with others, how smart people do it, and what it takes to recognize how people communicate and why at times it is challenging, and what you need to do to adjust your style to better connect. Always remember, people are doing things to help themselves, not to hurt or offend you. If you can understand their pace, focus on their priority, and learn to meet people where they are, you can address their basic needs, then you really can get along with anybody. I'm Meridith Elliott Powell. Thank you for your time today. I believe if you build your network, it will change your life. If we are not connected, I hope that you will connect with me and we can take the first steps together to getting along with absolutely anybody.
And you've been listening to Thrive, Competitive Advantage Strategies to Turn Uncertainty into Competitive Advantage. Meridith Elliott Powell. It was a absolutely phenomenal talk. Thank you, Meridith, so much. Meridith is not able to speak with us live for this event. She is in Madrid. You just heard one of the top speakers in the world, and we thank her so much for allowing us to share that. You are